Hey everyone, it's Cece with One Green Pea. Today we're going to mount a Staghorn Fern. So Staghorn Ferns are really unique, interesting plants. They are epiphytes, which means they grow on trees, so they actually attach themselves to trees. And so, as I've said before, it's best to know how a plant grows in its natural environment so we know how to take care of it in our indoor environment. So, being ferns, we know that they like warm, humid atmosphere. So, if your home is not pretty humid, like 60% or better, the plant is really going to benefit from misting. Now, you often see these plants mounted like to cedar planks like we're going to do today because they do grow best horizontally as they do in like attaching themselves to trees. In order to water the plant, if it's attached to the cedar plank, you dunk the whole thing into a tub or a sink or a bucket of water and really resaturate the moss that's surrounding it. Doing that about once a week is typically enough for the plant. And they actually can grow to be quite big. Now, looking at the plant, it is rather unique. You see these outer layers that leaves, fronds. They're called basal fronds. They're the non-fertile, infertile fronds. They just provide the securing of the plant to the tree or to the cedar plank. And these are the fertile fronds. These are the ones that put off the spores to make the new babies. So let's get started. So for our project, we only need a few materials. We need, of course, our plant, our Staghorn Fern, a cedar plaque with 4 screws in it in a circular pattern, Sphagnum Moss, I've got mine already pre-wetted, and then sheet moss to go around the outside. Finally, we need some monofilament line, which is really just fishing line, to wrap the whole thing until the plant can adhere itself to the cedar plank. So when I'm doing a project, making a recipe, whatever it is, I like to know what it's supposed to look like at the end. So this is a mounted Staghorn Fern. And as you can see, it stays attached to the plank just through the monofilament, which is how we're going to attach ours. And it looks really cool up there. It's like living art. This whole project took me about 10 minutes, so fear not, I've got you. Okay, so our first step is to take the plant out of the pot that it came in. And I want to break up the bottom of this and spread it out to create a flat surface to adhere to the cedar plank. So I'm just going to kind of tear apart the roots. And I'm not doing any damage to it at all. So then I have a flat surface. Then I'm going to take some of my moss, and you can see it's quite wet. And I'm going to create a bed right here on my plank. And then I will place my plant on the plank and press it down in there. Then I'm going to take more of the moss and put it atop the soil. We really want to keep that soil wet, so plenty of moss is the key. So why do we use a cedar plank? Because cedar doesn't rot, or it's a lot less likely to rot than other woods that you might use. And you don't want to use something like ceramic or something else that might look nice on your wall because then the plant isn't going to have a rough surface to adhere to. So that's why we use cedar. That's why it's most commonly used. You can use other things. Okay, so I've got a nice moss bed. I'm going to take some of this sheet moss, and this is totally optional, this part. I just think it looks prettier when it's wrapped in green. And so I'm just gonna take pieces of this sheet and press it in here. This is, you know, fairly much make it up as you go type of art, which is my favorite kind of project. And you can also trim out some of the edges once we get it adhered with the monofilament. So you just keep wrapping as much of this as you want. Okay, so I'm satisfied. Now, the trick is going to be trying to find those screws again that are going to attach our fishing line. So I have mine already knotted to one of the screws, which is nice, so I know where that one is. Then I'm just gonna wrap this around. I'm gonna keep going around and around and around, literally as much as I want to really secure it, because of course, you know, we're hanging it. We don't want it to fall off. That would be so depressing. Okay, so this is a little bit of a long process, so I'll probably speed this part of the video up. Okay, so I will cut this monofilament. I'm going to wrap around a whole bunch of times this last little screw and then create a nice tight knot. And as you can see, I've got kind of extra the sheet moss that I can trim up. I mean, you can leave it if you kind of like that wild look, which is fine. I'm just gonna trim some of it off so I can see some of my plaque, because I think it's kind of cool. And then at the beginning, some of the moss obviously is going to kind of fall off, dust off, but it will adhere. And so when it is hanging on your wall, it's not going to continue being a dusting or sweeping problem. So there is how this one is going to look. So again, some of this is just gonna dust off right at the beginning, but I think it looks really cool. So there you have it, this super cool piece of plant art. So, you know, it's gonna look amazing up on your wall, and it's a great way to display your plants, get them up off of the floor. It would also make a really cool gift. Now, I was actually intending to give mine as a gift, but I kind of like it too much. I probably will keep it. Thanks so much for watching. If you think these are as cool as I do, give me a thumbs up and please hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you part of my plant community. If you got a chance to make one of these or you have one, comment below. I would love to hear how it turned out for you. Until next time, my friends, keep growing.